Thank you so much for the sharing. That is very important. We are touching the human part of the business, because you see, here we try to pay attention to our story, our human angle, because that is very important. We help us to understand where we are coming from, so that the person that see us do something understand that we didn't just jump onto that thing or business and start doing it. It's because it touches us really.
Yeah.
We feel it. It is important for us, so we do it with all our energy. So it is very important. It is very important. The people that are having this condition, why do some other persons look at it as a kind of deficiency? I mean, help me explain it a little bit better, because now you are an advocate for people, because human condition is not just one. There are different ways that we are built. We are not supposed to function the same way.
Yeah, it's the amount of lack of awareness, I could say, is the first thing about dyslexia and dyspraxia and other neurodiverse conditions. It's the thing is, when people don't understand something, they can have their own preconception about things. A lot exists with, especially in the Black community as well. People are shamed because it's got a stigma attached to it. So they may be embarrassed to own up to say that, I have this condition and I have all these things going on, but they're afraid to speak up about it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with them. It's, as I said earlier on, it is their superpower. And the earlier they can own it, know about it, and that's why I always champion early diagnosis as well. Because if I was diagnosed earlier, I would have known what it is that I was going through. But being diagnosed at the age of 41, that is lack of awareness. I didn't even know anything about dyslexia at the time I was having my difficulties. So that's the thing. When you know about something, you're able to find out more about it and have a better understanding of it. There's absolutely nothing, there's nothing wrong with you intellectual. You are so intelligent. People with dyslexia are so intelligent because they are the big thinkers. And there's been a massive influx recently, especially in the workplace, of organizations wanting to employ people who are neurodiverse because of our thinking and the way we see things and the way we are problem solvers. We are solution driven, totally solution driven. And when we have a job to do, we do it good. We do it good and proper.
All right. Neurodiversity. That is another thing that you sort of speak a lot about, right? Can you also break that down for us?
So neurodiversity is the word that's used to umbrella. So you have things like ADHD, you have autism, you have dyslexia, you have dyspraxia, you have dracoculia, which is the maths one related to maths. There's so many that sits within underneath that. So you can say a person is neurodivergent. It's because they might have one of those conditions or learning difference going on. So it's just an umbrella word. Neuro meaning, to do with the brain, something going neurologically. So that's why we have that umbrella term that covers all of them. So when you hear the word neurodiversity, you understand that it's something, someone who have something that they think differently. And yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Ma, is dyslexia a kind of autism? Is there any connection between the two?
There can be, because the thing with dyslexia is with neurodiversity, like for myself, speaking from my own experience, I have this severe dyslexia and I also have dyspraxia. Dyspraxia is another thing as well, where it's a developmental coordination disorder, they call it DCD. And that will do with the way that you trip over things, you might walk into things, bump into things, no coordination. I always laugh about this one to say that I am the only Black woman who cannot do the candy dance. And it's so hilarious because, as you know, candy dance is whatever party you go to, there's going to be a chance that that song going to be played. And that's always my cue to go and sit down. So they always have like comorbidities. Comorbidities meaning that if you have one, there may be a touch of something else going on there. Because I've also done a self-test for ADHD, and my score was very, very high, where it came out at 92% that I did. So that's to do with my thinking, the way I think about things, the amount of information that's going to my brain. The task that I focus on, it can be sometimes you try to focus on something, but you're thinking of something else and your brain is going 100 miles an hour. So those are the things that some people may have maybe autistic, and they might also have ADHD, or they may also have dyslexia. So its chances are there will be something else going on there, but not with everyone.
So it's not like when you have dyslexia, it means you're automatically an autistic or you have some autistic condition, right?
No, not necessarily.
All right. Thank you for that. That is that is important. But for people who are diagnosed with dyslexia, what are they supposed to know or be aware of so they can better live their life, of course?
Okay, so it'll be the way that I struggled from a very young age with spelling and be able to comprehend things. I know what I want to say in my brain and it's in my mind, but however, I may struggle to get it on paper the way it should be. So when you get diagnosed with dyslexia, it opens many doors to getting the real support that you need. For example, when I started my degree, I did my degree and I achieved a first class honors degree. However, I had no support because I didn't know that I had dyslexia at the time. So it was the last few weeks of it that I got diagnosed. So when I started my master's, all this support was put into place. I had a support worker that helped me to look at my work, be able to comprehend what I'm writing down, making sure that I've put it in the right way, in the right order. So it's the way we comprehend things, the way we understand things, it's instructions, taking instructions. Things like driving affects many areas of your life, like driving, for example. You're trying to drive, you're trying to pay attention to the road signs, you're trying to listen to what the sat nav's saying. It's quite a lot of things going on there. So we may struggle with that. Our left or right, when we're getting directions from someone, instructions, we struggle because we struggle with short-term memory. So we don't have, our memory is very, very, I would say it's poor. I'd use that word to say it's poor, where we can be told something and then we walk that few steps away and then we forget. Those are the little things. But once you have these learning differences, you develop your own mechanisms to understand things. You write things down, you use your calendar to ensure that you can remember things. We have so many ways of ensuring that we do what we need to do and we do it to the best of our abilities. And this is the reason why it always goes undiagnosed for a lot of people, because we've had it, but we are so amazing at the things that we do. So no one suspects that we have it. We just go through life and everything seems so fine. A lot of people say to me, wow, you're so amazing. You do this, you do that, you do that. But they really don't know the struggles that I have in the background. And it was when I came out and said to the world, opened up to the world and said, I have dyslexia and dyspraxia. A lot of people started to come to me and said, wow, I've had it too. And I've had the struggles and I just didn't know. So thank you for coming out and saying it. So it's all about the awareness.
Yeah, it's about the awareness. Because like you were saying, if you maybe were diagnosed at a younger age, maybe you would have known how to better prepare for it.
Yeah.
Because I think most of the conditions that we live in, I don't want to say we suffer from, sometimes it can also be opportunity for us to be able to better adapt to the world that we live in today. Because look at how we have evolved as species. Now, of course, it is true that we need the two objects in front of us to be able to see, which are the eyes, no? But because we have that, we usually ignore other possibilities that we have around us. But the day that we get blind, we are not actually dead. We are still able to communicate, able to see, but not with our physical eyes, no? We are able to sense. The ability to sense is also very powerful. So we have a lot of infinite possibility as human beings. It's just that we can't even tap the minimum. We tap barely a dot in our possibility because, okay, hey, I can run, I can do, but that is not all you can do. I think it is important that, we begin to understand if there is any deficiency in some area, we have a way of covering up in other area. Now, and one thing I'm going to ask you related to that is dyslexia something that is usually only diagnosed at a later stage in life, or is something that can also come up in children? Can you say anything about that?
Yeah, definitely. With my own experience, because I'm an advocate and I know what to look out for in my own children. I have twins of 8, the 8 boy and girl twin. Now I started to notice things happening with my girl twin. Things like, I tell her something to go and get her something upstairs and she'd forget. And I kept watching it and monitoring it. And then other things like she'd be going up the stairs and she'd trip over. and that's a coordination, and she was dropping things. She can't remember. Every day I'm getting a note from school to say that she's had an accident. All of these things were happening, and I actually went into the school at the start of it and I said, these are the things that's happening with my daughter at the moment. These are the things that I'm noticing at home. And they started to say, you know, these are the things we can, in certain area of her studies as well. She's only 8. However, she's starting to fall behind because she was taking longer to do things, to understand and process the information that she was getting in the classroom. So I started to advocate on her behalf. And recently, just before COVID, she had I had a meeting with the school nurse, and she made a recommendation, a referral for her to see an occupational therapist. She went and saw an occupational therapist, and she went through a massive amount of assessments and tests. Yesterday, we went to see the pediatrician, who confirmed that, yes, she have DCD, developmental coordination disorder, which is dyspraxia. And my eldest daughter, who's 21, has got dyspraxia as well. So it's a hereditary condition. That's what I'd like to show you, that it's a hereditary condition. So